So today I'm going to take you guys through my approach to rhythm guitar tones. So here's the tone that we're working with. Sounds pretty sick. Alright, so now I'm going to solo out the tone so you guys can hear what it sounds like on its own. So again, sounds pretty sick. Alright, now I'm going to take off all the effects and let you guys listen to the source tone. I'm going to leave the limiter on just so that the loudness stays the same. So here we go. So it's a pretty good sounding source tone. Alright, so this is the source tone. I'm using my Axe-Fx. You'll see here that I have a bunch of EQs and I've got a multi-band compressor, but basically all of this is the same as what's in Logic. Just whenever I'm recording and stuff, I like to do all the EQing and whatnot in the Axe-Fx. But for the purposes of this tutorial, I just decided to turn all of them off and do it in Logic. It's the same EQ moves, so it sounds basically the same. So the first thing in the chain you'll notice is a compressor, but I only have this turned on when I'm doing lead stuff, because I use the same tone for leads as well. So the actual first thing in the chain for the rhythm is the overdrive. So I'm using the T808 overdrive simulation. I've got the drive all the way off, and I've got the tone slightly boosted. The cool thing about the Axe-Fx is that in the drive block there's some tone shaping stuff over here, so it's pretty neat. I'm taking out quite a bit of the lows and quite a bit of the highs too, so you get this mid-focus tone. It works really well for the djenty sound. And I've got this mid-frequency here that's basically in between these two, and I'm boosting that slightly just to further emphasize that whole djenty sound and the pick attack and stuff like that. So the next thing in the chain is a noise gate, pretty basic noise gate. And onto the amp. So for the amp I'm using the Energy Ball, which is the Angle Powerball simulation. Everything's either at noon or pretty close to it. The drive's a little below noon just to clean it up a bit. Got the bright switch turned on just for some more attack basically. And this knob right here, basically the higher you turn the brightness cap, the brighter it'll sound, and it'll start to sound harsh if it gets too high. So I felt this was a pretty good spot. So everything else I basically left like default. The only thing that I messed with was the speaker drive. Initially this was at 0.5. I just pulled it to 0 just to clean it up. I think it sounds cleaner that way. Now we've got the cab. So for the cab I'm using 4x12 rectifier with an SM57. So it's a pretty basic amp and cab setup, I think. I left all of this pretty much default, and the only thing that I really messed with was the low cut and the high cut. So I've got the low cut at just about 71 Hertz, and the high cut is at 7,227 Hertz. So it just gives the tone a more mid-focus kind of sound. So yeah, that's the source tone. Alright, so I'm going to take you guys through the effects chain in Logic now. So the first thing in the chain is a multi-band compressor. It's just the Logic stock multi-band compressor. So the way that I have this set up is all this over here is bypassed, so there's no compression going on over here. It's just the low mids and the low end. So basically what I'm doing is evening out the low end, because if you notice without the compressor, on the tapped parts, the low end gets quieter than on the parts that are, you know, strummed or whatever, that are picked, I guess. So I'll turn it off and on so you can hear the difference. So you'll notice that with the compressor on, the low end is even throughout the whole performance basically. The way that I have this set up is, you'll see the ratio right here, it's almost a 3, to 1 ratio. Threshold, again, it's compressing it really hard, and then the attack is really fast so that it immediately hits the low end. Release is at 61 milliseconds, and the setup kind of just gives you that even sort of low end sound. So that's the multiband compressor. The next thing in the chain is this EQ. It's just a Logic stock EQ. This is where most of the cleaning up happens for the high end. We've got a basic low cut, basic high cut. I didn't really take these too far because there was already filtering going on in the Axe-Fx, so it was just a sort of just to focus the tone just a little bit more. So in here is where all the cleaning up is. So I'm going to turn the EQ on and off so you can hear it back to back. So it sounds more focused and it's not as harsh, sounds nice and smooth. Alright, so this band right here, this 4K band, in basically every heavy rhythm tone that I've ever used, this seems to be a frequency that I am always cutting out. So I'm going to turn that band on and off so you can hear the difference. So it's not as harsh with that band turned on, it cleans it up a little bit. So this band right here, this area was just sort of a bit harsh in general, so I just took a band with a relatively wider Q and just cut a little bit out. So I'm going to turn that on and off so you can hear the difference. So it just sounds smoother. And then there's this frequency right here that was just like the 4K. It was a bit annoying to listen to, so I notched it out. And I'll turn that on and off so you can hear the difference. So yeah, it's just not as annoying to listen to. And this band right here, this is the band that kind of made the biggest difference. There's a lot of harshness like in this area right here, so you'll hear whenever I turn it on and off the difference. So yeah, I noticed that immediately whenever I turned that on and off. It almost hurts to listen to, at least in my opinion. Alright, so that's it for the first EQ. Now we've got this second EQ, and this is just to sort of boost the mids just a little bit, just to make the guitars a little bit fuller. And I'll turn it on and off so you can hear the difference. Not a huge difference, but it adds a little bit more fullness to the rhythm tone. And then the last thing in the chain is this limiter plugin. I'm not using any of these, it's just this right here at the end. So I've got the precision switch turned on. The ceiling is at 0 dB, and then I just boosted this until I got to around, just around here. You'll see whenever I play it. So yeah, that's the rhythm tone for this mix. I'll let you guys listen to it one more time.